Hey everyone, welcome to Jack Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I was thinking of this. I love this shawl that my mom picked out for me. But it reminds me of, if any more Star Wars fans, it kind of reminds me of the Jedi robes a little bit with the coloring and everything. But I just noticed that, so I was just thinking about that. That's why I decided to share that random little thought I had. So I'm going to update you on what's going on with my reading. So I recently, because I spent a lot of money last month at the convention, and I just recently bought like 4 books at Books A Million. So my mom is like, okay, you're not gonna buy anything for another month, or at least pay attention to your spending, because fortunately, I can be a little careless with my spending, especially when it comes to nice, shiny, pretty books. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. So first, I ended up going to the library this morning, and I remember that, like, because this is a small town, so like on Sundays everything closes. So if we want to do any shopping, we have to go on Sunday. We have to go to Aberdeen, which is the next thing. I mean, that's 5 minutes. It's like 5 minutes away, so it's not that big of a deal. And then on Saturdays, places like the library close early. On Saturday, everything is open, but the library closes really early. I had planned to stay there for a few hours and look around and stuff, but then then I finally decided, okay, I better sit down. The guy was like, okay, 5 more minutes, you guys. It's like, crap. But I was able to get some books. I was happy about that. It's okay. Yeah, at least I got out and got to wear my have a reason to wear my cute outfit. Like I said in my previous video, I'm not a fashionista, but I do appreciate a cute outfit. So, and I was very excited about this. And all the clothes I bought recently, they're all like fall and winter type clothes, so I'm very happy about that. I'm very excited to wear them. Unfortunately, it's still summer, and yes, it's kind of cool today. Cool as in 69 degrees, so it's still warm. It's gonna get up to like 70s. So it's still warm. But unfortunately, we're gonna get back up to the 90s next week, which really sucks. I'm starting to really wish that fall were here, that autumn were here by now, but it's not yet. We still have a few more weeks to go till it officially is fall. Even then, like last year, October was very warm. It was kind of warm, which really, it's like, what the hell? It's not supposed to be warm. It's October. I live up north, so I'm used to cool Octobers. Oh well, anyway, I'm done complaining about that. So let me first tell you what I've been reading. Okay, so I finished Beowulf. I'm actually ahead of everybody in the class, I think. Granted, there might be someone else who's read ahead. But I made sure to finish it, made sure I finished it even if, I don't have to finish it right now. So I read it this morning because I woke up a little earlier than my mom. So I just sat, while I was waiting for mom to get up, I just sat here and finished reading. This is pretty good. It's like, I was very apprehensive about it because I didn't know if I could read it. But I was able to, because this is a translated edition, so I really appreciate what Seamus Heaney did. Because I could not read the original and Anglo-Saxon text. There's no way. It doesn't even look like English. But anyway, so in case, this is a classic, and so I'm assuming most people know what this is about, or, even whether they've seen the movie or read the book. But this is, in case you don't know, this is about this guy, Beowulf. He's a warrior, and he hears about a neighboring kingdom is being terrorized by this beast, Grendel. And so he decides that he's going to go help them out and goes to slay the monster. Of course it's not easy, and he gets hurt and stuff like that. But then, like, even though he does defeat Grendel, Grendel's mommy shows up wanting to get revenge. And then eventually, eventually he comes across a dragon as well. So it's an epic poem. It's like the Odyssey and the Iliad. The Iliad and the Odyssey. That's how it's written like a poem. And it's good. It's fun and entertaining, and you definitely see how it inspires a lot of the fantasy we have today. And the fact that it's a poem makes it a little bit easier to read, and it makes it a little faster. I mean, it's still a lot to read, but it doesn't take as long as it would to read like a whole sentence, like, like for example, like here, for instance. But although this isn't the best example because it's pretty easy to read. But it's good. I enjoyed it, surprisingly I enjoyed it. It was fun. It had some cliches, and tropes, but it was written a long time ago. And, but it was fun, and I definitely recommend it. And if you're not reading this for a class, for like school or something, if you're not assigned to read this, and you want to read it, you might want to do your research. Learn about the country that this takes place in. I mean, it's not like it will be, because you could read this like a regular fantasy book, but it might help provide some context to the story itself. And that's really all I gotta say. I mean, there's not a lot to say about this. I thought it was good. I was entertained by it. It was definitely interesting. And now I will have to write a paper on it. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's partly why I want to read ahead, so I can get started on that right away. So I'm going to start on that sometime. Maybe, I might look at the paper later today or look at it tomorrow, because she did give us a paper on the different, like, what we could write about, like, to help us. So, I also, another book I don't have a lot to say about yet, because I haven't got very far in it, is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is, so far I'm liking it. I haven't gotten very far in it, but it's this group of people that, like, it starts where this police officer is, he's deciding to retire, so he wants to, it's been 10, 20 years since his last major case, and he's starting to doubt that the person that they put in jail was really the one who did the killing. So he decides to go talk to the guy off the record, and this young man, is telling the story about that particular case. And it's about him and a group of his peers. I think they're in college. They go to a special school for the arts, and they are Shakespeare students. And apparently something happened where one of them got murdered, and like it was a little too close to home, so to speak. Again, I haven't got very far in it. Like, we've just been introduced to the characters, and we find out that they're performing the play Hamlet. I believe it was Hamlet. I think. Is it Hamlet? Let me see. Which, I might be thinking Hamlet just because, or no, it might be, actually no, I think it's Julius Caesar. I think I was thinking Hamlet because that's one of the books we're going to read for class. But, I thought now would be a perfect time to read this book. They're all this, like, I feel like this, so far the vibes I got is this, like, this is like, what is it called? What's that called? Where is it? The Secret History meets, compared to, Secret History meets, I can't think of, I was thinking, there was another book I was thinking about comparing this to, but now I can't remember it. But, So far, it's good. Like I said, I don't have a lot to say because I haven't got very far on it. Because I was kind of focused on my Robin Hood book. And now I got a whole bunch of library books that I need to read. Or, like, at least I need to get most of them read. But, yeah, I have to... Basically, I'm going to have to, you know, pick one of the books here and narrow it down a little bit. On what I'm going to focus on. Unfortunately, that's very hard. So I don't have a lot to say. I'm liking it so far. It's definitely really interesting. I really like the characters. And I can't wait to find out what happens next. And I went ahead and decided to go ahead and read the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. Because I have this problem where, like, it will be a long time before I read the next book in the series. Like, I still have not read Voyager yet, and I still have not finished Crooked Kingdom yet. So I'm trying to break that cycle and go ahead and jump into the Well of Ascension. And again, this is another one that I haven't got very far in, and I can't really say a lot about this one, not just because I haven't got very far, but because if you haven't read Mistborn: The Final Empire, then this will be spoiling what's going on in that one. Or even if I do tell you, you will not have any idea what I'm talking about. But this is basically the aftermath of what happened in Mistborn. You know, I should say, The Final Empire. And how they're dealing with that. How all of our characters are dealing with that particular situation. Again, as you can see, I haven't got very far in it. Because I tried to read it yesterday at work. Because I got to work, I was taking Uber to go to work, so my mom, suggested I call them 30 minutes earlier than what time I had to be at work, so I would have a little bit of time to spare, and I wouldn't get to work right on time or late. I would get to work early. So I went ahead and got there early, thinking, I can read then. But, of course, my coworkers, one of them, she isn't technically a coworker. She's one of the women who does the cleaning of the store. Like getting the trash and cleaning the bathrooms. They have a company who does that for them. Unless, of course, late at night. So she's a very talkative person, and I think she just wants to talk about what her frustrations and worries and stuff. So as soon as she gets started, and finally she called me and realized I kept looking at my watch to make sure that I would get downstairs to start work so I won't be late. And I think she also was kind of aware that I was reading my book, because she did say, okay, I'm going to stop talking now so you can get back to your book. But, but it was kind of, I felt bad because I was kind of annoyed by that. I was like, okay, I don't really, I understand you want to vent about your problems, and I really appreciate it, but I kind of want to read my book. And then, she left me alone. And then another one of my actual coworkers, someone who actually works particularly in a department in the store, started talking to me and was, recommending, he was like, oh, is that fantasy, and you should read this book. And I got 2 books from the world the universe he mentioned, the Forgotten Realms universe. So I already knew, but it was I appreciate the recommendation, dude, but I am reading my book. I don't have a lot of time, and I want to get a little bit of reading done before I have to go back to my boring job. And part of me is even more determined to read before I start work, or during my break. Because they assume that because I look so young that that I want to spend my time on my phone. Which, yes, I do that, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, shocking, but believe it or not, I actually want to read as well. I actually care about reading. So it's even more important to me that I feel that I'm like, I know I shouldn't care what people think, but I don't want them to. I get kind of annoyed when older people assume that we all just want to spend time on our phones and stuff. Yes, we do that a lot, but that's not the only thing we do. There are readers out there in the world. There are people who actually like to read books that are my age or younger. I just hate how younger people, 20-something-year-olds and teenagers get the rep that they just want to spend time on their phone. It's kind of frustrating. But anyway, so So again, I can't really say a lot about that. But so far, I'm finding myself once again enjoying getting lost in that world. And next is the book I'm most involved in is Nevernight. I finally got around to reading this because Pierre Ford, booktuber Pierre Ford, kept mentioning this book, how much she loved it. And like every time she hears the name Mia, she thinks of this book because the main character's name is Mia. And, you know, I said in a previous video, I remember saying that this is she kind of says that this is how people would have wanted, how assassins should be. How people would want, how, I'm stumbling on my words here. How, like, people would think that Selena would be. Because she's supposed to be an assassin. And, you know, if you're reading assassin books, you want an assassin to actually assassinate people. And, you know, Selena doesn't really do a lot of that. Which, you know, it's fine and everything. I still enjoy the story. But I definitely can understand what people are talking about. I mean, she's supposed to be an assassin, and a lot of people have that pet peeve of, I don't like reading a book that's supposed to be about an assassin, and the assassin doesn't even kill anybody. So far I'm really interested. This is a very unique read. I can kind of understand why people don't like the footnotes, because this book does have footnotes in it. But I think it's kind of an interesting little take. It's like, you know, it's basically like you are reading her journal almost. And that's what those footnotes mean. It's like her records of what's going on and all the things that she encounters and stuff. Like giving background on the monsters and all that. But at the same time, it kind of does interrupt the reading a little bit. You know, because, you know, sometimes the sentence doesn't end until the next page. So, I'm also someone who wants to, like, if there's a little thing at the bottom, a footnote at the bottom, I want to read that footnote with where it's supposed to go with in the actual text. So I don't, you know, and the problem is sometimes the sentence isn't over, so I can't just read the page and then go to the footnote. So I can understand, but I'm fine with it though. It doesn't bother. So this is what J. Cross stuff looks like. I'm really liking this, and I love Mia's character. I love how blunt she is and how tough she is. I mean, I admire her, and I would love to be as tough and as confident as she is. I mean, she's one badass bitch. Like, and I love the first sentence. It's, people often shit themselves when they die. I think that's so funny. How, like, you know, and she basically has this whole paragraph about how, like, people, they don't talk about that in books and movies, you know, when a character is dying. They don't talk about how the person will go to the bathroom when they're dying because they'll lose control of their bladder because they're dying. And, you know, people don't make a note of that and don't talk about that. It's like they ignore the stench that the person will probably leave. So I thought that was kind of funny. That's how it starts. I really wish I need to just read this. Like, I need to read a lot of this without taking a break. I mean, the problem is, like, when I'm reading in bed, I'm gonna fall asleep. You know, I'm gonna end up falling asleep. And then and then sometimes there are things that distract me, or things that, you know, like if we're driving somewhere, I'll have to stop the car and stop raining so I can get out of the car and stuff and put my book in my bag. So it's just, you know, I need to sit down and read this when I'm not falling asleep and there's no interruptions. Like, so right now would be a good time, or at least like after I eat lunch, because I'm starting to get hungry already. So I'll eat lunch and then I gotta read straight through. And I also gotta read the next book straight. I gotta read some of the next book as well. So the next book that I started a while back, a couple months ago, that I haven't come back to yet, is The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. This was a recommendation by Jen from Insert Literary Pun. She was always talking about how great this book is and did kind of a review on it. I think it was one of those women's prize books. So I decided to get it because it sounded like a book that the way she talked about it got my attention. It's a book about a young woman, a college student, who gets involved, becomes a mentee to this woman, this older woman. I can't remember who she compares her to. This young woman, Faith. This woman, Faith Rank. Like she's a modern. I'm trying to think who. I can't remember who she compared her to. But she's one of those people who's all about the older version of feminism, and it's about how the young woman, Greer is her name, how she becomes part of this and how it affects her life, her personal life, especially her relationships with men and everything, and how this relationship with this woman, Faith Frank, really impacts her life. Again, this is one I haven't got very far in, but I definitely want to get back into reading this as well. There's a lot of books that I want to get back into reading. Okay, so that's what I'm currently reading right now. So let me go through my library, the books I got from the library. Okay, so first, I finally got this. So I've been hearing a lot about this book. People talk about, some people love it, some people hate it, a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. This is a fairy book. This young girl and her stepsister, their parents get killed, so they get taken away by the fairies to come live in the fairy kingdom. And our main character, Jude, wants to be essentially a part of the fae community. She wants to be considered not just some pathetic little human, but she wants to be more than that. While her sisters, or at least one of her sisters, the one who is actually a biological, is actually half fae. She's her parent is a fairy. Her dad, her biological father, is fae. And she doesn't want to be part of this fae universe. But our main character, Jude, does. So I hear this is very dark. It's more to the original fairies, not the cutesy fairies, not like the friendly ones or anything. This is more closer to the original Celtic mythology of fae. And I hear Holly Black is really good at writing fairies. So I saw it there, got really excited, decided, I'm gonna jump on this. I'm gonna get it. Next, so I fell in love with Circe, the book Circe by Madeline Miller, and I kept trying to look for it at the bookstore, but I kept missing it. I mean, I missed out on the opportunity of buying it. I should have bought it the first time I saw it, because I did see it there at least once. And unfortunately now I can't really. I'm trying to do what my mom asked and not buy any books. But this is her first book, Song of Achilles. It's about the whole Trojan War, and it's told from the perspective of a lover of Achilles. And it's about them, their relationship, and the whole Trojan War and everything from their perspective. Oh, this says Decollages, so I can use this for Decollages. So I really liked Circe, like I said, so I'm definitely eager to read this one. And I wasn't gonna buy it, but I saw it at the library, so I decided to jump on it. Okay, so next, The Natural History of Dragons. So I've heard about this author on and off, and this series of books that she's written. And I saw it there. I remember hearing about it. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna check this out. Especially because I want to read more books about dragons. Oh, this also has Decollages too. It's kind of, I think it's kind of written like a textbook. So, I want to read this because I like the idea of dragons. Okay, so I read Ali Smith's Autumn and I really liked it, even though, I thought I didn't like Stream of Consciousness, but it turns out it's more that it was written for today's audiences. It's written like, it's still stream of consciousness, but the writing and what they're talking about is for modern audiences. So I wasn't confused or anything. Not like in Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. That one just really, I didn't like the plot. I was getting kind of confused. I was bored, and I got rid of that one. So I have been waiting. So winter has been on my list. So I figured, I saw this one there, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. I'm gonna get it from the library, and then if I like it, I might buy it. Like, I'm gonna go look at all these books, and if any of these books are books that I like, I'll put it on my list to be bought in the future. Either maybe put on the Amazon wish list, or buy it myself. Keep looking for it. Okay, so the last two books are Home Fire. I am told this is actually a retelling of what is it? It's a retelling of a famous Greek play, like the Oedipus cycle or something, on one of those. It's about these I don't know what winter's about yet, but it's about, like, I think Islam people in England and their lives, and how they're not entirely accepted, especially after 9/11 happened. I think this is modern, the whole 9/11 situation. So I went ahead and saw it there and decided to get it, because this is another recommendation by and so was Winter as well. This is a recommendation by Jen from Insert Literary Pun. So I have been trying to, I've been working my way through her books, and then I've actually found other booktubers that I really love that I've been also trying to I'm getting the books they talk about as well. Okay, and the last one is Mr. Penumbrum's 24-hour bookstore. I don't remember what this one is about, except for, it has a bookstore that's open 24 hours. I don't know. I really don't remember what it's about, but I remember this was another one that I've been wanting to read. So like I said, I'm getting these books. I'm borrowing these books, and if any of these books I like, then I'm going to add them to my Amazon wish list, or just buy them myself at some point. I don't know, but probably add them to my Amazon wish list, and then if I happen to see them at the bookstore, and I'll grab them, and then I'll check. Then I'll buy them myself next time I go to Books A Million, or if I happen to see them at the used bookstore. So that's what I've been reading lately, and that's what I just got at the library. I borrowed from the library. I hope, what are you all reading? I hope you are currently enjoying whatever you're reading. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And click subscribe if you have not already. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.